She destroyed her 37-year marriage. Now she's just a side piece.
I'm over 60. I'm divorced after 37 years of marriage, and I'm navigating the dating scene. But somebody asked me, why did you get divorced after 37 years? And I have to say, some divorces happen not because of any big mistakes, but some happen because of something very important that's missing. And that was my case. So let me explain. We were married 37 years. We had 2 children by birth, 5 internationally adopted kids. We raised a big family together. There was a lot of chaos, and we built a life and many different businesses, moved and lived in different places together. I was the singer in the band and also the band leader of a company. He was a piano player. From the outside, everything looked great, and everything was great. We were really good friends for a long time, but we were co-parenting in a lot of chaos. There wasn't abuse, there wasn't infidelity, and there wasn't any one ginormous dramatic breaking point, but there was distance. There was a lot of silence. There was like this abyss between us. Yes, we tried therapy. Yes, we talked to friends and family. We tried to process this together. And at the end, what we realized is that we were really, really good friends. We respected each other deeply, but we weren't in love. And I know that's a big deal. A lot of people say, well, you're not going to be in love forever. But I would look around and I would see these couples who were together, who checked on each other, who weren't living two entirely independent lives, but then sleeping under the same roof. And connection isn't something that you can just produce because there's history there. Over time, we grew apart emotionally. We didn't really talk to each other. We didn't have a lot in common. The most important thing is that I know he was checked out, and I think I was checked out from the relationship. We were just tired, and we lacked this shared inner life. We just didn't have it. They reached this turning point, and we were ready to be almost complete empty nesters. We both lived in Florida, and I had this house up in the Midwest that I purchased in 2020. That was my great grandparents' house. And I would come back on occasion and fix it up. But eventually, when we decided to get a divorce and we were almost empty nesters, it was the type of thing where we had to decide, okay, where are we going to keep this? So one of my kids he was just 19, but he was finishing the last few months of high school. So he was still in the house, and I moved up here, and my kids are all over the place, and many of them are in Florida, and I'm in the Midwest. Like I said, we got a divorce, and we kind of framed it that, look, we've been really, really successful, and we can set the tone for our children. They can either freak out if we're freaking out. They can be angry if we're angry, or we can be good friends. We can be together and just not be married. And so that is what we chose to do in hopes of opening up the door for more joy, more love, more connection in an ethical way without, going off and having affairs and that type of thing. We made that choice. We weren't mad. I'm sure there's some things that he has complaints about, and there's some things that I do. There's some wounds there for sure, but it wasn't big. It wasn't dramatic. And I know 37 years seems like a long time. I think I noticed the abyss way before that, but we were raising kids and we were keeping busy. So we just continued on that path. But there was like a dullness. There was a lack of joy. And I wanted to open my life up for more joy, for more bliss, for more peace and happiness within myself, because I was just highly stressed out staying in that marriage. It didn't feel right for me after a while because we just weren't aligned, and we tried and we tried. There wasn't failure. It was just evolution. It wasn't all this drama. We're both okay. We're really good friends. We talk to each other and it's fine. A lot of our friends think it's really sad, and I understand that's the case. So not all divorces happen because something went wrong. Some divorces happen because there's just something missing and it's done. It's over. So that's my story. Now I get to share with you my experiences trying to figure out the singleness after being married and somebody's wife for 37 years.
She divorced her husband after 37 years because they grew apart, no longer shared interests in things they used to do together. Now someone's asking, why do so many couples disregard wedding vows? For better or worse, richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. I'm not happy, we grew apart, we're not aligned. None of these are actual grounds for divorce under those vows. Why even have marriage if people treat it as optional the moment it gets uncomfortable? They're absolutely right to question this. Wedding vows used to mean something, Commitment regardless of circumstances, working through difficulties, honoring promises even when feelings fade. Modern marriage has become till I'm not happy anymore, till we grow apart, till something better comes along. That's not marriage, that's an extended trial period with an exit clause. 37 years together and she left because they grew apart? That's exactly what happens in long marriages. People change, interests shift, passion fades. You're supposed to work through that, rediscover connection, adapt together. But she chose the easy way out, blow up decades of history because maintaining the relationship requires effort. Here's the brutal reality check. The grass isn't greener on the other side. She's about to discover that starting over after 37 years means entering a dating market where she has almost zero value. Older, decades removed from dating, competing against younger women, with most quality men completely uninterested. She threw away a partner who knew her, shared history, and stability for what? The fantasy that something better exists? It doesn't. She's going to be alone, regretful, and realizing too late that growing apart was solvable, but divorce isn't reversible. Why get married in the first place if you're not willing to honor the vows when they're tested? Marriage is supposed to be permanent commitment. If people aren't willing to live that, they shouldn't marry. They should just cohabitate and be honest that they're only staying as long as it's convenient.
I'm over 60. I am divorced and I started dating. It's a jungle out there. I wanted to share this story because I dated a guy who I was really into for about a year, and we were on again, off again, mostly on. But early on, I had a lot of red flags, and I'm going to talk about all of the red flags of dating over 60 in a series here. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was one of the things that he's done, and an experience I just had because we just broke it off, I believe, for the last time. That's why I have this channel now. So it was his birthday yesterday, and he sent me a text saying, hey, I won't be able to see you on my birthday after all. And we live just a couple blocks away and we see each other all the time. I have other plans and I'll be out really late. He's a guy who religiously goes to bed very, very early. It's his birthday. I've been with him for a good year or even a little bit more. I just found it weird that if you've been with somebody for that long, that you wouldn't either have your birthday with them or at least say, hey, this is what I'm doing. So I texted him back. I was like, okay, but can you do me a favor and just reassure me? So I wanted to be reassured that this isn't, a date or a hookup, because I was just feeling a little insecure. He texts me back and he says, it's not a date. It's not a hookup. And quite frankly, I don't need to tell you anything. And I said, fine, I'm going to be out too, because I was going to a basketball game. And he goes, I don't care. He says, I'm not your keeper. I was like, okay. Basically said, well, all I'm doing is I'm going to a basketball game. He's like, well, I don't really care. That exchange is what broke us up, because I called him out on something and I've been suspecting him cheating on me, and I've had to tiptoe about it. So my new account here is really going to be about dating over 60, navigating divorce, because, I was married for 37 years. And then what? Like, what happens after that? I mean, you don't really have a lot of dating experience, right? So I dated this guy and it turned out that I was madly attracted to him and in love. And it was a very physical, passionate relationship. He love bombed me in the beginning. So amazing. But that's the pattern. He would be so amazing and then he would, not be around at all. And then I would cry and cry and cry. It was like the grief was more than even my divorce.
Outdoor cat literally does this every night. He wants to get out and then, what are you doing, Stormy? What? Did you see him? Did you see what he was doing? Do you want to come in? Of course you want to come in. Winter, so I let 3 of them inside. Okay, come on, Stormy. Come on. Want to come in or not? Okay, come. It's okay. You can come in, but you're going to go in the back. Come on, baby. Hold out there. Okay, yeah, you know where you're going? Okay, don't hide from me this time. Don't hide, baby. Hoo-hoo. Boots. Hello, say hi. You're beautiful.
Don't like to think of myself as a cat lady. But these cats kept coming every single day outside in the summertime, and then it got cold, and so I let them go in the back. So there's 2 boys and I think a girl. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Anyhow, all this to say, if you've been dating a guy for a year and it's his birthday, would you expect to be with him? And then if you weren't going to be with him, would you expect him to at least share? And if you asked him, hey, hon, I'm feeling a little insecure because I don't really know what's going on, and he was somebody that was always kind of dismissive, how would you feel? So that's one thing. The other thing is that even when we've had other conflicts before, when I've just asked him very simple things to have communication, he would, the first time he did this was in the summer, he returned everything that I bought, even as gifts, to him. And that felt like the worst punch in the gut. He could just throw them away, right? He could just throw them away if he didn't want the reminder of me, but instead he has to give them to me. And it just feels like it's very much like an attack. This morning I got up, I was getting ready for work. I saw that his car pulled up and I thought, oh, maybe he wants to talk. Maybe I don't know. I had some expectation of him talking. So he sees me at the door and I see him getting in the back seat. And then I'm thinking, oh, he's returning some things that I had at his house, which wasn't a lot. And then he just drove off because he saw me. And then I had a feeling that I would come home and he returned the stuff. So let me show you what he returned. And predictable. These are the bags, and it's probably just some sweats. Yeah, I got this for him at Venice Beach sweatshirt. He's returned that. This is a sweatshirt from Dallas, Texas. He's returned that. These are my clothes. I didn't even have that much stuff there. A pair of slippers, a pair of shorts. But the worst thing for me, there's part of my underwear. He didn't even open these, or maybe he did open these, and he returned his birthday cards. He didn't even scratch off the lottery tickets. He wouldn't let me buy him any gifts in the last several months. And he stopped saying, I love you. He stopped complimenting me. And I stayed with him. We will cover that on this account too. But look, it's just stupid. This is the cheesiest birthday card. And inside I say, I really wish you had, years of travel, because he'd like to travel. And here's another, it's stupid. It's just silly because I knew he wouldn't want to go deep. I'm going to scratch these off. I'll let you know if he just gave up $1 million. And figure out if Mr. Wonderful gave up, $700,000. I don't know. And honestly, I've cried so much in this relationship, which has been about a year. And I would ask myself time and time again, like, why are you in this relationship? It's just dating after you've been married that long it's a whole different world. So I didn't know. And so now I'm in therapy dealing with my stuff, because why would I be with the guy who is this bonkers? $20, baby. Okay, so with all that being said, welcome to my page, Deanna, divorced, 60 plus. I do have another channel called Hot for History, but I just felt like it was more appropriate for me to kind of talk about my life. I have to unpack this. It's like therapy for me. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Should we expect the guy to be transparent with us, or at least reassure us if we're saying, hun, please reassure me, I'm feeling a little insecure? Should that happen? Number one. Should a breakup, when you've been together with somebody for a year, come with a conversation, or should it come with, let me put all your stuff in a bag in front of the house? I'm just trying to figure it out, and I'm very aware that I, even at the age I'm at, am having to spend this new time after getting a divorce after 37 years, losing my sister in the same year, moving to a new place, being a new empty nester. And I just want to make friends on this app, and I want to talk, and I want to learn more things about myself and more about you. And I want to find love again. Is that too much to ask? So please follow, subscribe. I'm going to be renovating this house. Hopefully I'll be sharing more things about myself, and it would mean a lot to me if you would just subscribe and like the video and tell me about your experience dating over 50 or after you've been divorced. Maybe you're just over 40. It doesn't matter. Come on, join my page.
After divorcing her husband of 37 years because they grew apart, she entered the dating pool, found a man she was deeply into, they've been on and off for a year, and she was way too invested. Now he got what he wanted and dumped her. She's regretting everything. This is the textbook outcome everyone warned her about, and she refused to listen. Let's break down what actually happened. She left a stable 37-year marriage for the fantasy of excitement and passion with someone new. She entered the dating market as an older woman with zero experience navigating modern dating. She immediately caught feelings for the first guy who gave her attention, because attention from a new man felt validating after her marriage ended. She got into an on and off situationship for a year, which means he was never serious and she was the only one invested. He used her for sex, companionship, or an ego boost while keeping her on rotation with other women. Once he got bored or found someone better, he dumped her without hesitation. Now she's alone, heartbroken, and realizing the man she thought was her second chance at happiness never valued her. The husband she discarded after 37 years is gone and never coming back. The grass wasn't greener, it was a mirage. She destroyed a lifetime of stability for a year-long situationship with a man who saw her as temporary. This is the regret that comes from blowing up your life for feelings. She traded decades of shared history, stability, and a partner who stayed for emotional highs with a man who never intended to keep her. She gambled her marriage on the belief that something better existed, and she lost catastrophically. Now she's sitting in the ruins of that choice, regretting every angle, while her ex-husband has likely moved on or, at minimum, no longer cares. This is what happens when you prioritize temporary emotions over lifelong commitment. She made her choice. Now she lives with the consequences, alone, used, discarded, and full of regret that will never undo what she destroyed.
If you are dating a guy and he does this, leave immediately. I am over 60, recently divorced, and dating for the first time in a long time. And I was with the guy for almost a year and we just broke up. Red flag that I ignored consistently was when I would bring up, let's say, an issue, or I would talk about my feelings. Give me some reassurance. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know. I'm feeling a little insecure. Can you just help me out here and give me some encouraging words? Whatever. He literally would ghost me, wouldn't text me, would bring back my stuff, and I would go into this depression mode and be so sad. And the thing is, in hindsight, I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? If you're with somebody who doesn't care enough to listen to you, or he isn't mature enough to be able to have a conversation, let's say even in conflict, he is not worth it. You have to leave. Communication is key in relationships. There's plenty of men who are great communicators, who have a balance of confidence and humility and an understanding that getting close and getting intimate sometimes means having real conversations. There are people out there like that. So don't waste your time and say goodbye if he totally ghosts you, ignores your feelings and your, just your desires and heart to communicate. So we got this.
If you have problems with 2 or more relationships, then you're the problem. And this applies perfectly to the woman above. Let's connect the dots. She was married for 37 years and decided the problem was they grew apart, blamed the relationship, not herself. She enters the dating market and immediately gets into a toxic on and off situationship for a year where she's overinvested and he's using her. Again, relationship fails. 2 failed relationships, different men, same woman, same outcome. That's not coincidence, that's a pattern, and the common denominator is her. Here's what's really happening. In her 37-year marriage, she likely stopped putting in effort, stopped maintaining attraction, stopped prioritizing the relationship, and blamed him or growing apart instead of examining her role in the decline. In her new situationship, she caught feelings too fast, ignored red flags, accepted breadcrumbs, tolerated being treated as an option, and stayed in an on and off dynamic for a year. All choices she made that led to being used and dumped. Both relationship failures stem from her: poor decision-making, lack of self-awareness, inability to maintain long-term attraction, choosing poorly or accepting poor treatment, refusing accountability for her role in outcomes. When one relationship fails, it might be the other person. When multiple relationships fail, especially with completely different people and completely different contexts, the problem is you. She destroyed a 37-year marriage and immediately failed in the dating market because she never fixed the core issue, herself. Her mindset, her choices, her patterns, her inability to maintain relationships or choose quality partners. Until she accepts that she's the common thread in all her relationship failures, she'll keep repeating the same patterns and blaming everyone else while wondering why nothing works.
I'm over 60. I'm divorced after 37 years of marriage, and I have navigated the dating scene, mainly dating one guy for a decent amount of time, and I'm dealing with a breakup now, and I'm just replaying so much in my mind. I think one of the things that I've observed, not only in dating, but in general in life and communication these days, is that so many people want to be more interesting than interested. And when the guy stops being interested, or at least even pretending that he's interested by asking the questions, that's when you know that he's not interested. For example, like if you're on a date and he just keeps talking about himself, he's really not interested in you. He's not that kind of guy that's going to be aware of that type of thing. And I personally am a little bit old fashioned. I like when a guy makes the first move. Yes, many of us women have been out there a while, but we still do like those old fashioned romantic ways. I think effort really tells you the truth. If a man is interested in you, you know it. And for me in this relationship, I just started noticing that I was having to ask, like, oh, do you love me? And it left so much doubt in my mind. And nobody wants to be begging for attention, especially when you know your value and your worth. And yet I'm empathetic and I'm a very loving, caring person. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So if a man is interested in you, he will be the one to knock on your door, make a call, make a text. He will make it crystal clear that he is interested in you. He will ask you out. He will lean in for a kiss. He will make the first move and you will melt, right? And I'm not saying that women shouldn't, make those moves also, but there's something about that in the very beginning, especially to have that mystery and have that masculinity kind of come out. So when the relationship is healthy, that energy shouldn't disappear. It should deepen, right? He should still be looking, checking her out, wanting to know if she's okay, maybe buying flowers, making those moves. As a woman, you have to start being very aware that if that's stopping, that he definitely, I've said it before, he's not that interested in you. If you have to ask for a kiss or be the one always making a move, somehow things flip and you, even if it's subconscious, start to think, oh my gosh, like, you start to lose respect for the guy because you start to feel like he's not really in his masculine as much as he should be. If you have to ask him, well, do you still find me beautiful? Do you love me? Because you're not saying it, and asking him if he's interested, asking him where you stand, and then he doesn't really give you the real answer. His actions will speak louder than the words. And yet some of us need the words. I want the words. I want the words. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. And again, it's not that I'm so weak and wimpy. I just like knowing that he values me in that way. When you're really attracted to each other, it shouldn't have to be extracted, right? If he's really feeling that for you, he would naturally grab you, make a call when he's not around you. It shouldn't just be also when you're around each other. It should be like when he's even not around you. Like, is he thinking about you? So you shouldn't have to negotiate your affection either. You shouldn't be like, give me a kiss. Can you give me a hug? So you shouldn't have to chase it down. It should be natural. And if you get to the point in your relationship where you're chasing it down, and you're doing the asking, what you're really doing is that you're trying to create this reassurance where it doesn't really exist. You can't be reassured by forcing that out of a guy. It should just either be there or it isn't. And if it's it isn't, then I'm saying this to myself. You have to face the reality that even if he doesn't want to say it, that you need to say it. He's just not that into you. A man who's emotionally available for you, he doesn't want to withhold his affection. He doesn't need you to wait to request it, right? And he doesn't leave you guessing. He is generous with his love, and he should be generous with his love. And if you're feeling bankrupt from not having that love, it's really time to get out. He may not be able to express it, but he's already said it if he's not doing that. And if you're not getting those needs met, bye-bye. That's the honest truth. Be more interested than interesting. And if he's not interested in you anymore, especially when you're a very interesting person, no.
She needs to stop holding guys accountable for unmet needs when those are the exact guys she's seeking, choosing, and attracting. Hold yourself accountable. This is the core issue women refuse to address. You're not a victim of bad men, you're the author of your own poor choices. Let's be brutally clear. If your needs aren't being met, ask yourself, why did you choose him? What red flags did you ignore? What patterns keep repeating in the men you're attracted to? Why do you keep selecting emotionally unavailable, low effort, or non-committal men? You can't blame men for being exactly who they showed you they were from the beginning. If you chose a guy who is clearly not relationship material, and now you're upset he's not meeting your needs, that's on you. You selected him. You ignored the warning signs. You stayed when you should have left. Women love to say men are trash while consistently choosing the same type of trash men and rejecting the good ones. That's not men failing. That's you failing at selection. Here's the accountability piece. If you keep attracting and choosing the wrong men, the problem is your picker. Your standards are broken, your attraction triggers are misaligned with your stated goals, or you're ignoring green flags while chasing red flags. Stop blaming the men you consciously chose. Start examining why you're consistently attracted to men who can't or won't meet your needs. Until you fix your selection criteria and take accountability for your choices, you'll keep ending up with the same type of men and the same disappointing outcomes. That's not bad luck, that's patterns you refuse to break.